recording.
Okay.
And we'll go from here. So we're gonna do first your student. I am the student of you. You're explaining it to me first.
Yes. So my student will refer to as Jay, and he's very good at math, and he can stay on task. He does pretty good at reading and writing as well. He gets really into what he's doing if it's something that interests him. But when he transitions, he has real difficulties. A lot of times he will get frustrated and he'll start throwing things or screaming. And then he runs out of the classroom, he runs through the school, and the behavioral specialist will have to find him. When he calms down, he's brought back to class. My CT allows him now to kind of move at his own pace as long as he's staying on task for the most part.
Okay. So I mean, I can work with that.
Okay. All right. So let's do that.
So you're you still, and I'm gonna use your computer, and I'm the student, and I'm
Yes. Okay.
doing our test. So I'm typing.
Okay. Student J, it is time to wrap up what we're doing, and it's time to move on.
No, I'm still working on this.
I understand, but you'll have more time later to come back to it.
Oh, I don't want to.
I know it's hard. It is hard to leave what you're into, and I love that you are so into what you're doing. You're doing a good job, but please let's do some deep breaths and understand that it's time to move.
How many breaths do I have to do?
Let's do flower breathing. I'll do it with you.
Okay. What are we doing?
So we go in to our thumb. We take a big breath in, and then out, and then in, and then out. A little bit slower, and then in. And then out. Are you starting to feel more calm?
No.
Okay, keep going. In, out, in, out. Okay, do you feel like you're ready to put it away now and we can move on?
I guess. When do I get to come back and do it?
Let's say after lunch, we're going to have a little ATI time, and I will talk to the CT and we will create some time then.
Okay.
I was waiting for you to scream and run out of the room, but that's okay.
I can run out of the room.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
We can do scene
No.
two.
Scene two. No, that was good. That was
Okay.
great. So who is your student that I will be?
So my student is student A. Some very similar behavioral issues where transition and focus are a struggle from the get-go. So it's as soon as he enters the room, often it is, we can see what type of day we're gonna have.
Okay.
So if he's had a fair enough time outside waiting to come into the room, he can transition fine. This student loves art, and anything art related will stay focused on, but it's that transition into something else where it's oral, auditory learning, he disconnects. So at that point, I will make eye contact with him because I will go sit in my corner and I will just motion him to come sit by me so that I can try to keep him literally on task each step. I'm like repeating what she's saying.
Okay.
I am looking for ways to connect with him to keep him engaged.
Okay.
Some days it works, some days it does not.
What does it look like when it doesn't work?
Where he's, sitting in his chair on his
Okay.
bed,
Okay.
flopping around the whole room.
Oh, okay.
We'll come back. We'll like sit and rock in his chair.
Okay.
We'll squeak it. We'll hop from chair to chair around
Okay.
the table. Oh, I need to get into my being. No, we're not doing that now. But I really want to do that. Or we'll have a cutout piece of an animal and be talking and playing with it.
Okay, I can probably act this out. So
Okay.
I'm gonna pretend like I'm coming into the classroom,
Okay. Oh, good morning. How are you today?
I'm okay, yeah.
Oh, good. Okay, so it looks like we are going to get started on our journeys book.
I don't know.
Oh, I know. Some mornings are really hard. Goodness. Okay, so I'm going to try here and stay with our teacher. And you see that your body is moving a lot. And when you're doing that, are you able to see what is on the board here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So can you see it now?
No.
No. Okay. So let's try to.
I don't want to do this.
Oh goodness, I know. I'm sorry that you don't want to do this.
Can we do art?
We cannot at this time. You have a choice to make right now. So you can choose to sit here with me for 5 minutes, and then I will trace your hand on a piece of paper, which I know you like to do.
Yeah.
But if you choose not to, well, then you might have to go sit out in the hallway and wait for your.
No. Okay, I'll do it. I'll
Okay.
do it.
And then I get him to settle down for about the 5 minutes.
And he will
And
engage.
yes, he will engage, and then he will remember, and I will trace his hand, and then I start writing in it. And he's like, well, what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm just making sure that I can keep you on track with me. So I'm reminding myself what to do next time this happens.
Oh, okay. Okay,
And
cool.
he's like, oh, so you pay attention? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I'm trying to help you.
Aw.
Oh, okay.
And then that seems to get him back.
Or
Okay.
I will constantly make eye contact with him.
Yeah.
Even if he's down underneath the table and I'm like, can you see my eyes?
Right.
He's like, yeah. I'm like, okay, my job is to keep you really safe. So I'm constantly asking him to keep his mask up.
Right.
I got sick last time. I'm like, hey, you remember that time you came to school and your snot was all over the place? Your mask was down, and then I wasn't here 2 days after. I'm like, I got sick.
Yeah.
And wasn't saying you got me sick,
Right.
but I was
But
like,
it was an inference.
we
that-
didn't
yeah,
keep
yeah.
ourselves safe and keep our germs to ourselves. So I got sick and was not well enough to be here. And those days were really bad days for him because he didn't have that
Your
separation.
safety support too. You're like a huge support to him.
Yes, that separation for him in the class and not being overwhelmed with whole group, because whole group overwhelms him because
Yes.
there's so much going on and he doesn't have that one-on-one.
My student is very similar. He hates the mask, and he calls it his baby, but it's a piece of material from his mom's shirt that he constantly, he's very tactile, so he wants to rub it, and he also sucks his thumb and then he does this, so he
Okay.
can't do that. He wants to push his fingers in his nose like that, and he can't do that with his mask on. So we're constantly like, oh honey, you gotta find your mask or whatever, because he'll lose it. He'll just take it off and lose it. And so we give him so many masks,
Right.
and my CT has been saying that he has to pay a royal buck after his like third lost mask for the day to get another mask. But yeah, so he has problems not having stuff in his mouth, and then it's sad because we're always like sanitizing and squirting the stuff, and he won't do that because it tastes gross when you put it in his mouth, so he doesn't ever want to have hand sanitizer on. But yeah, so. But very similar students. So
Yeah.
are we giving each other feedback now as to what I would tell you to do and you give me an advice?
Let's
Okay.
do that.
So I think, I love what you're doing. I love the eye contact. I think that's great. I love that you are there, like at that, being able to be his support. My question is what happens when we're shorthanded? But that's not really telling you what to do. I guess I would say keep doing what you're doing. It's the long game, right? Not the short game. So I love that you're referring to the why. You're answering those questions. It's like, it's because, we want to keep you safe. And it's because I care. And so like, I feel like you're doing everything right socially, emotionally. And then I would just say, stay consistent. And even when you're having like an off day, just try to like make sure he doesn't know, and that he always knows that you're going to be like that constant.
Some days are easier than others. I remember first starting I was like, how am I gonna get through this kid? But then I think I remembered something that either somewhere in our educational form, that those students that need the most help will never be absent.
Yeah.
They're always there, and they're there because potentially they're not wanted at home.
Right.
So they're being forced to come to school.
Right.
Whether they're healthy or not. And
oh, that's so
that
sad.
walking in the door could be their only
Positive
influence. And something that Dr. Green said that stuck with me, that he heard from someone else: if you do not see the soul of a student, what is the point? You're not there then to meet your student whole child. So I do try to keep that in mind. But as far as you, for your feedback, I feel like you are doing positive affirmations to your students. One thing that we keep hearing a lot is giving them choice. So you have two choices here. You can do this or you can do this. And whatever choice it is, kind of being consistent with that, constantly giving them choices, because I also feel like their misbehavior is a lack of control, either of themselves or their environment. So they are just acting out because they don't have no control.
I love that choices. Yeah. And that's what I'd love to see more of. Just being able to differentiate that for him. I know that my CT, you know, gave him a lot of grace, but now she's kind of coming down and she's like, okay, we have to so he's on a modified day. So he's only there till 12:30 because of the behaviors, because he can't stay all day.
Okay.
And I guess with my school, they allow for that. Very rarely, I think, but they have been, his mom has been told that, yeah, he has to go home at 12:30, which is really heartbreaking because sometimes he doesn't want to leave. And I feel like the latter half of the day is all the enrichment. That's the art, that's the music, that's the fun stuff. So he's really just getting the brunt of literacy and math instruction, and he's not getting the big picture of what school is.
Right.
And so I hate that for him, but
And this is your 6th grade or
this
your
is kinder.
kinder? Okay. Well, he certainly has time at this beginning of the year to transition into potentially a full
Right,
day.
and that's what he's working towards. And we constantly talk to him about if his, you know, if he can maintain control and follow directions, then he's working towards getting to stay at school longer, which he wants to do. And so I love that. He wasn't able to go to the field trip because his mom couldn't get the time off of work, and because he's at high risk, we didn't have the extra hands to let him go.
Right.
So we didn't get to do that. But we do utilize the vibes room a lot, where he gets to go do like sensory stuff, and we use the smiley face chart for good behaviors, that he gets to earn breaks. So
Okay.
we have a lot of different things that we're doing. So I feel like, yeah, it's just a matter of time, consistency.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Oh, thank
Cool.
you so much.
Thanks, Susan.
Thanks, Susan.